everybody, Pat Huntoon here with Technique Junkies, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this gorgeous dipped in metal look that I'm going to be using as the background for this. We're going to create the background and we're going to stamp right into it with our focal image stamp. So I'm starting with a piece of 4.5 by 4.5 inch paper because it works really well with the stamp I'm going to use. Some Distress Oxide and Cracked Pistachio, Wilted Violet, and Picked Raspberry. Now, the nice thing about Distress Oxides is that when you lay them down, if they're wet, when you put them down, they'll blend together. But if you allow them to dry and then use them, you will layer them on top of one another. So because the colors are so opposite, I'm only starting with 2 colors, and then I'll do the third color, the Cracked Pistachio, on top of that. So I've created 2 little ink blots of color here directly on my Tim Holtz work surface. And then I'm going to take Mixed Metal and Shimmering Bliss, and you roll it between your hands because you want to move all of the mica that's pooled here on the bottom. You want to move that into the liquid that's in there, called a topper. So this we usually use to go over the top of other things that don't have shimmer, but this time we're actually incorporating it right in. So instead of using water to dip into these, we're going to spray a good amount of the mixed metals into the 2 colors here, and then I'm just going to dip my cardstock. I'm going to do the dip, add color here. And I want to show you this because it's pretty amazing. But can you see how the mixed metals have created these marbling? It's almost like they're marbled. It reminds me of old, when we used to do a lot with alcohol inks, or when people use alcohol inks with a metallic. It's kind of the same look. So I'm going to add just a little bit more pink to this side of my cardstock. Again, I put some down. I drip it in there. Get some more marbling going. And then I'm just going to wipe this off. And I'm going to use the Cracked Pistachio. And just having that sit for a second by itself usually is enough for it not to dry enough so that we're layering then. So I'm going to add some mixed metals to it, and then just strategically, you see how it just lays on top? It is so pretty. You don't get the browns that you would get if it was in a blending mode. It's just laying on top here. And I'm just filling in the blanks here of where I have white, because I want color on this entire cardstock. So I'll get some white in here. Get some green on there. And I think a little bit more mixed. So you just dip this until you're totally satisfied with the results. I'm going to add a little more Cracked Pistachio, a little more mixed metal here. At this bottom portion here, and I could not be happier with the way this looks. It is beautiful. So the next thing you need to do is let this dry. You can let this dry. Sorry, I have to futz. I can't help myself. That's enough. Okay, so we're going to let this dry all the way. It needs to be totally dry. And then once it's totally dried, I will stamp into it. So we can use a heat tool, or we could just let it dry naturally. Okay, so this is nicely dried. And when I turn it to the light in certain ways, you can really see the metallics and how they've gathered on here. It's a really pretty marbling effect. And the multiple colors laying on top of one another is also very beautiful. So what I'm going to do next is stamp it with the S928, Accept What Is. And it says, accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. And that's this stamp. And this, I have it set up in my MISTI so it fits perfectly. I'm going to be stamping this in black VersaFine. Well, this has been stamped in black VersaFine, and before I do the next step, I'm going to dry it once more time with the heat tool to let this heat soak in, because I'm going to be using a little bit of water on this. So this piece is nice and dry right now. I did not mention to you, but all I used here was Nina Solar White 80-pound Classic Crest cardstock. It's 80 pound. I used a regular cardstock instead of the watercolor paper because of this pooling here. It sits on top of the paper longer, which allows it to marble when you use regular paper. So I'm just going to color these flowers a little more. You could leave it as they are, or you can color them. So I'm going to create a little ink pad there because I'm going to be putting water into it directly. And here, I'm just going to spray that with the mixed metals a tiny little bit, and then grab my water brush and just watercolor these just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up some of the color. I'm not, because I put water, the mixed metals in it right into the ink, I'm not really pushing any water out of my watercolor brush, so you really could use a regular brush with this too. I just happen to have them at my fingertips always. So we're going to start with the pink down here and just kind of paint that pink on, keep this very monochromatic. So that is all colored. Let me hold that up so you can see it. It's so pretty, finely colored, very beautiful background. So I'll just cut this down and put it on cardstock and show you what it looks like finished. But that is our tutorial today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning how to use the mixed metal shimmering bliss to create a beautiful marbled metallic background. I hope you enjoyed it today. If you did, give us a thumbs up on YouTube and consider subscribing to the Technique Junkies YouTube channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye now.